Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and another episode where we do an audio upgrade on a classic car. This is no ordinary classic car. It's a 1973 Tomaso Pantera. I know some of you are thinking, why even bother changing the stereo? Because in this car, it's all about this V8 engine. And I understand that. But there is a reason why this particular customer has requested an audio upgrade. So let's talk a little bit about this car before we start talking about the stereo. This car has been dropped to ourselves by a good customer of ours, Merlin, aka Duke of London. It's one of his customers' cars, and it's a 1973 registered Tomaso Pantera with a 5.8 litre V8 engine sitting right behind the seats. It's good for about 330 brake horsepower. Now, if you take yourself back, if at all possible, to 1973, over 50 years ago, to have a car looking like this and having 330 horsepower, that is just mind-boggling. The car has been fully restored, as you can see, because she does look very pretty. It's also right-hand drive, makes it even rarer. Low car, as you can see. Ooh. Okay, I'm not sure if you're 6 foot and above. It's a very tight fit. Anyway, the stereo, as you can see, is mounted vertically. It's a Philips radio cassette, FM, and medium wave and long wave. So there's no point in actually doing a before listening test because it's going to sound really, really poor. The customer has requested that we keep the original stereo and the original grills and do an OEM plus audio upgrade. Now, as I said earlier, some of you are thinking, what is the point? And you know what, to a degree, I understand that. This car is all about the engine, which is 6 inches behind your head. However, we live in a world where you cannot touch your phone as a driver when you're driving the car. So Bluetooth is important. And also, if you are going on a road trip or a journey, yes, listening to the exhaust and the engine note is great, but after a little while, it might get a bit drony. The option of playing some audio does help and obviously gets you through a long journey. The customers also requested that we add an electric aerial because the one in here does not work. The aerial is behind the engine. Now that's an even bigger challenge. So I know the engineers are going to love working on this car. So let me jump out and they'll start stripping it. We're going like for like with Audison APX4 two-way 10cm speakers, making a few minor modifications to ensure they fit snug and secure in the factory locations. Although there were speaker grills on the center console, no actual speakers or wiring was found. That means we need to do some fabrication work, creating proper mounting points, retrimming the panel, and installing another pair of the APX4s. This should allow the sound to sufficiently fill the cabin over any road noise and droning. Right, Midway update. Now, just to remind you guys, the customer has requested a discrete audio upgrade, sort of OEM plus, and without breaking the bank. But the customer does want quality products. So he doesn't want us to just rip everything out and put in cheap £20 speakers. But the other end of the scale, which I totally get, he doesn't need £1,000 component speakers. We're going to use 2 pairs of Audison APX4. They are two-way. That's the doors and the center console. They will be amplified by this Pioneer GMD 1004, which is a very compact amplifier and doesn't draw a lot of current. We're going to use a mechless stereo, which is shallow mount, and this will give DAB, FM radio. You've got USB on the front, you've got an aux on the front, it's got Bluetooth and Bluetooth streaming. It just means that you've got all the tech in a stereo, which is half DIN size, so it's a shallow size unit. That'll be hidden away in the glove box. And for a subwoofer, we're going to use an active box. Active means that the subwoofer has an amplifier built in. It's the Kenwood product here, KSC PSW7 EQ. There's a separate bass controller as well, so you can increase or decrease the bass. That's going to go in the footwell of the passenger. It's going to get hidden right up, so you won't see that. You won't see the speakers because they'll be hidden behind the grills. You won't see the amplifier, that's going to get tucked away. You won't see the stereo. But one thing you will see is the new aerial, and we're going to use a Hirschman aerial, which has been provided to us by Merlin. So I'm going to leave the engineers, they'll crack on installing all the equipment into the car, and I'll be back at the end and we'll do a listening test. So, installation all done. Oops. As you can see, there is nothing Gary on show. Stock stereo, stock speaker grills, including in the center console. Let's turn this on and have a listen. We will be using Bluetooth streaming technology. So I've already paired my phone, and we'll start with a lowish volume. Crystal clear. Bear in mind, that's just 2 pairs of 4-inch two-way Audison speakers. Very sharp, and actually more than enough. Now I'm going to forward the track and just let the bass kick in. And more than enough bass. Potentially too much bass, but don't forget we have got bass controllers, so you can reduce the bass down depending on the type of music you're listening to. So in terms of sound quality, fantastic. Nice treble, nice mid-range, and a little bit of depth so you can feel the bass going through you. Now let me show you where the subwoofer is mounted. So the subwoofer, and I'm gonna have to get really down and low, is hidden behind this wooden panel. So if I pull this panel forward and down, you can see that's the subwoofer. So we've just made this trim panel just to cover it up so it's discreet. I've used that word discreet quite a lot in this episode. The stereo, well, the glove box is just here. There's your Kenwood stereo with the USB fly lead, which goes to the driver's side, but it's tucked in quite nicely. Close that. One other thing, we haven't used a windscreen mount DAB antenna on this car. We've managed to use a DAB splitter, which works for DAB and FAM, which is connected to the rear aerial. So there we have it, guys. The audio in this absolutely gorgeous 1973 Tomaso Pantera has been discreetly upgraded with some 21st century tech. In terms of pricing for the products, if you go into the description below, there are links to each and every product. It's very difficult to give an idea of labor because with classic cars, they are all different, and when you strip them down, some are easy to strip down, others can be quite a bit more labor intensive, and if there's old wiring which is damaged, that needs to be replaced. So we have to quote on a case-by-case basis. If you have a classic car, be it a Tomaso, a Ferrari or a Porsche, anything, BMW, Mercedes, just drop us a DM or an email in the description. All our details are there and we'll happily quote you up. So yeah, there we have it. I know some of you are gonna say, was it worth it? Because it is all about the V8 engine that sits here. I personally think so for the reasons that I've outlined right at the beginning of this episode. Customer has now the best of both worlds. He can enjoy the car with the music of the engine, and he can also enjoy the car with the music from his iPhone or whatever device he's using. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like this episode, make sure you smash the like button, make sure you're a subscriber to the channel, and I'll be back on another episode, hopefully with another car as gorgeous as this one. See you on the next one, guys.